It's only been a couple days without posting any content, and it feels like it's been years. So there's been a rather contentious video floating around the good old YouTube from a creator named Nostalgia Nomics, titled "Let's Talk." Well, a lot of people talked. Let's just say that. He asked, and he definitely received it. The like to dislike ratio is to put it in blunt terms, it's not good at all. But I'm gonna try to dissect the video as unbiased as I can to try to understand where both parties are coming from, because I believe both sides actually have some valid points and also contentious and polarizing opinions as well. I really try my best to look at all the opinions presented and make my judgment objectively instead of disagreeing with one opinion and then totally disagreeing with some that are actually valid. Just because, well, I'm biased or something. It doesn't help anyone, and neither do I think it contributes to a productive conversation at all. So to summarize Alex's, aka Nostalgianomics video, a good 80% of it was just him talking about how he invests, how he started his investment journey, and his overall tactics for doing so. However, further inside the video, things started to get a little spicy.
If a couple months in this hobby ruins the entire hobby for you, I'm willing to bet you give up on a lot of things in life. I'm willing to bet you complain a lot in life. This is probably a pattern that you've probably, become accustomed to throughout the entirety of your life. That you have something to blame. There's always, something that, is in your way that you can't, move. That's, you just can't, fathom that the world, doesn't work perfectly every second of every day. Will this problem get resolved? Of course. A couple different ways. Maybe Pokemon prints it into the ground. Maybe they start printing sets more. Maybe people just lose interest in the hobby and the demand falls, right? There are a bunch of different ways that prices go down and correct, and it will happen. Stop freaking out that for a minuscule amount of time in the last 10 years, it's happened once during around COVID, it's happening one time now with a couple sets, thinking that the entire hobby is flawed and there's no opportunities and it's never going to be the same again. If that is all it takes for you to lose all of your confidence in the hobby and in Pokemon, maybe this wasn't for you after all. Maybe you should just go back, clock into your job, and just leave this whole hobby for good.
So there are some elements to what he said that I personally actually agree with. I've stated quite clearly in the past that the small percentage of people, and I like to make that very clear and emphasize it, the small percentage of people who are giving up on the hobby simply because they didn't manage to get 2 sets are either A, lying, and they will come back in a few months after it cools down, or B, they didn't care about the hobby enough to stick around and perhaps choose a different avenue to collect or be inside of the hobby. In my opinion, that's a valid criticism for those specific individuals with that mindset, because I think it's a very corrosive and quite depressing way of looking at the hobby that you claim to love so much. And in my opinion, it's a bit disrespectful as well. However, this is a small percentage of people, and I don't think they should be lumped with the vast majority who do have genuine concerns about the current state of the Pokemon hobby. And I think, in fact, that most would agree that that mindset is, pretty negative and counterintuitive to what it means to enjoy and love a hobby in the first place. The problem I think people had with Nostalgianomics' video is that he was lumping everyone who was vocal about the current state of the Pokemon hobby together and labeling them all as crying wiener babies who are just complaining about everything.
And if you're just a hobbyist and you're just a casual collector watching this channel, hey, maybe it's time for you to just find a different hobby. If it causes you this much anger, hobbies are supposed to cause you joy, right? Hobbies are supposed to be something you do outside of work. And, if this really ruined it for you that much because you don't want to collect any other set out there, it has to be just the newest one. And if that's not at a price point that you deem affordable, then all you can do is complain. Find something else for a while. Come back in 6 months. Maybe it'll be better then. Like, why put yourself through that misery and just get online and complain about it every single day? That's no way to live, guys. That's no way to live your lives. Because all of us that are enjoying the hobby, that are successful in our businesses, our careers, that, people that can't afford packs, we don't care. We're not listening to you. You can scream it from the mountaintops as loud as you want. You can leave it in every video. No one cares. No one cares. Most of the time, outside of your traditional family, your friends, your close circle, no one cares about what you're going through, your struggles, your business, how unaffordable things are, your income. No one cares. Get out there and change the situation. Get out there and work more hours. I shouldn't have to work 50 hours a week. Maybe you shouldn't, but maybe you need to, right? I mean, it's tough love, but life's not fair. Life doesn't work the way you think it should. And sometimes you just got to get out of that mindset and say, hey, this sucks, but this is what I got to do if I want to get to where I want to be.
All right, so a big component to this is that a lot of people who have genuine concerns and are upset about the current state of the hobby right now are not planning to make it their job or business. They're not trying to build up capital and reinvest it, then compound it. It's as simple as this. I'm going to put it as bluntly as I can, okay? The people who are quote unquote complaining have normal lives. They can't afford to invest a large amount of their funds into Pokemon, and neither do they actually want to. They simply want to go to Target on a Saturday, get a few boxes, and crack them open. Right now, they can't do that. Hell, even Shrouded Fable is going out of stock. The set that not everyone disliked, but a set that was probably the least popular in this whole entire era. If that's going out of stock, then I think that's quite telling of the current state of the market right now. These people cannot find shit. That's just the honest truth. And when they go online and see the new set going for triple the amount of MSRP, well, they get upset. And they also have a right to feel upset too. Obviously, there is a subcategory of people who are extremists, claiming that anyone who makes money in the hobby is evil and is a scalper and ruining everything. I don't agree with that. And quite frankly, I believe most don't hold that extremist point of view. They simply want to buy something, and now they can't. They also don't want to turn it into a business, and even if they have more funds, they refuse to pay scalper prices because they believe, in their opinion, that those prices shouldn't even exist in the first place. And I think that is a very fair opinion to have. So when somebody says, well, just work more hours and pay these scalper prices, it's not really solving the main issue at all. In fact, it only makes people even more angry and even less willing to understand your point of view. And I mean, you could just look at the comments. A lot of them are very extremist too, claiming that anyone who makes money in the hobby is greedy, which is also a very corrosive and in general a very flawed way of thinking as well, given the fact that Pokemon cards as a whole wouldn't even exist here today if people didn't value them in some sort of monetary way. However, the reason why people are commenting so hatefully is because they see someone blaming them for complaining. The only thing it does, it alienates them and prompts them to take an even more extremist point of view. So the bottom line is, people are allowed to state their concerns, and their voices should be heard in some sort of way, and I don't think they should be blamed for it either, even if you don't relate to the issue at all and are not affected by it. However, this also doesn't exclude the people that are very hateful and emotionally driven, who are pointing fingers at people unjustly. The key is to separate these individuals and not lump them together as the same group, because if you do, you get situations like this. Anyway, that's about it. I'll see you later, weebs. せーのでもそんなんじゃダメもうそんなんじゃほら心は死ん